If you are a B2B company and you want to use influencer marketing to make more sales, there's some principles that will help you make a lot more money, make you capture more leads, and then make you sell more of those leads. Now, we've actually analyzed over 100 plus B2B companies who've dived into this, and here are some pretty confident patterns that we've noticed. Now, the first problem is the fact that it's getting more expensive. Lists of leads are getting filled up. Lots of companies are fighting for the same lists. People are looking at their email less often, and that's just because AI now creates a lot of AI slop, and it's very hard to get people's attention nowadays. So we found is this channel has actually not only not decreased in effectiveness, but become more effective. Now, the biggest problem with paid ads is a rising CAC. After a certain point, your CAC becomes too high and your ROAS dips. This makes ads really hard to run. So, what do you do? Well, we'll dive into that. But we need to understand that there's some data which makes it very hard for salespeople nowadays. Less than 2% of reply rates on cold outbound, which is a lot less than a few years ago. And the fact that most buyers are now shopping on an anonymous journey. Simply that means that everyone's looking at your marketing material before you even talk to them. Now, a lot of the time, things change, and so has buying behavior. Most people are now avoiding forums. They actually try and do all the research they can before booking a call. And this is based off recommendations, things they hear in community, or what they're doing on the site. And what they're doing is just waiting for eventually some trigger to take them over the edge and take action. Did you know that over 93% of B2B influencers actually, or B2B, and over 93% of B2B marketers are ready to invest in B2B influencer marketing? Now, the idea of it is actually quite simple, and it's the fact that you work with a thought leader who already talks to your buyers. So the person who you would be talking to on a sales call already watches this person and respects them and admires them and listens to their advice. It's very important. You'll find this especially in B2B influencers who talk about making money. They typically have a very loyal audience. It's small, but it's very loyal because the people that keep watching them because the things that they have tried from their recommendations have worked. And that's also why they command premiums. Now, something that we should look at is opportunities for arbitrage. And you'll never find that in the swamp of the same. What I mean by that is people who are always doing the same thing typically are not going to get exceptional results. We have to look at something different. We find LinkedIn actually is that thing. Most people think of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. LinkedIn, however, has a full video feature that's really underused. And it's just like Reels. And it's severely underposted, which means that there's a huge opportunity for brands to capitalize on. And now with Gen Z taking over the workforce, with 75% of Gen Z plus millennial actually being part of the workforce, and the fact that 29% of LinkedIn videos are coming from Gen Z, just simply means that this is the direction of which media is going. A lot of millennials are now using more social media, and they're all on LinkedIn now. And what's funny is less than 1% of LinkedIn's 1 billion users actually create any content. So with 99 people consuming it, that's not nearly enough content for people to consume it. So that's where the gap is. But video just gets more reach. So that's another reason why LinkedIn is the go-to platform. Huge arbitrage. But let's break down a campaign. Call Cloud effectively worked with 5 creators. Now the goal was just to get more signups, right? With any company. Get more signups, get more money. A lot of small companies have that same goal. So with a monthly spend of $7,000 and 15 videos produced, that led to 720,000 impressions, which led to 4x increase in demo requests. Now think of it where every single client is worth a LTV in the 5 to 6 figures. A $7,000 investment really just needs one client to pay itself and put multiples on it, which is another reason why B2B is extremely lucrative, especially if you have a good sales funnel. Now, some of the biggest companies are already working with creators, all of which sell to B2B as well to consumer. Let's break down another campaign, Hootsuite. Hootsuite created a campaign with 9 creators. They created this physical newspaper, posted it, it went hyper viral because it was very interactive and visual. Every creator was actually printed on the front page of their own newsletter. And effectively, it just introduced some personal story with the message into the newspaper, posted it, went mega viral. Tons of people saw it, tons of people liked it. This got over $1 million in pipeline actually generated, and 66% of all report downloads in Hootsuite came from this one campaign with 9 creators. Another campaign is Honeystack, who released a new AI feature named Odin. That did exceptionally well. What happened was it actually led them to hire a creator, a magician, with 3 million followers, which led to a ton of downloads. Now, most people just sponsor creators. But funny enough, the concept of the 3 funnels in marketing applied to this as well. You want to have a combination of creators who are big with very cheap CPMs, so cheap reach, who are edutainment creators. Then in the middle, you want generalists. So, for example, let's say we're selling a dialer software. At the top, we have people who just talk about professional comedy, professional, day in the life of a salesperson. Generalists, for example, give people who give sales advice. And then subject matter experts are people who are very specific, people who specifically talk about cold calling. Essentially anyone in the audience would be able to use a dialer. As you go down the funnel, obviously you get less volume. So you want to target all 3 to convert the total percentage of the most audience. Now, there's a couple of ways to work with creators. Most people just think sponsored posts are the only way to start. But with B2B, you can actually go ahead and use lead signups, right? So you can actually go ahead and put a unique link post in a post, a unique link in a post, newsletter, podcast, video, not just a sponsored post. You could also create ad assets, take the video, run it as an ad, company assets, have the creator create something and put it into all your B2B assets. Events. This is one of the most in-demand things, and we've helped set up this for multiple brands. You fly out a creator to an event, they create content, you get more people showing up to the event because you feature the creator being there, and you actually get the creator to then post on their own organic. So you get 3 in 1. And content distribution is basically you just get leverage behind all of this. For example, Dreamforce, which is just Salesforce event, has 50,000 attendees, and they brought a bunch of creators who were a combination of ones, including corporate humor creators. And what this allowed them to do was get a ton of content that they could keep using 3 to 6 months afterwards, and the pre-event promo, and also street interviews and recaps, one that I didn't mention before. So what happens is content distribution is typically a value problem. It's the fact that, a lot of B2B companies are spending a lot on newsletters, white papers, reports, but the value is already there. It's just the fact that people don't want to consume it in that boring format. And that's where creators really come in and help, right? No one really wants to download a 30-page report unless creators convince them it's a good idea. So how should you get started with your B2B campaign? Well, first, you should go ahead and pick one goal, signups or awareness. Either way, they both lead to more money. The question is, do you want to look at it on a longer term horizon and build brand value, or are you just focused on the immediate performance marketing? There's no right or wrong. It just depends if you need quick cash flow or if you're trying to scale the business. The second then is to start with few creators. And what you want to do is find small creators so that way you can make it manageable. Then you want to do a 3-month test campaign. You never want to do one-offs. Then take the top performers and then keep expanding. What we typically like to recommend is keep 80% of creators that perform well, dump 20%, and then keep recycling and repeating month over month, campaign over campaign. Now remember, in B2B influencer marketing, take big swings, take big bets, make aggressive CTAs, make creative ideas, sponsor that unique creator, because the bar is very low because most content is very boring, especially on LinkedIn with all the AI slop. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can also check the description. Hope you have a good one.